Well, here I am at Poets Rock. Now, I've issued this silly challenge to everyone in the Berrinba Runners group to come out here to Poets Rock and recite some poetry that they've learnt off by heart with no notes. It can either be their favourite poem or something they've written themselves. Now, because I instigated this silly challenge, I'm expected to lead by example and come out here and embarrass myself. So, I'm going to recite something I wrote myself nearly 8 years ago. Now, first you'll need a bit of a background story. Back in 2012, my good friend Rob Simpson invited me on a walk at the back of the Carnarvon National Park called the Great Walk Carnarvon. Sorry. Now, this is a 5-day through walk, and the most I've ever walked before is a 2-day through walk, and my feet get really sore carrying a heavy pack, and my pack started out at 23 kilograms and I was also 10 kilograms heavier than I am now, so my feet, my pussy feet as I call them, get really sore really quickly. And we have 3 days, on our third night on this walk, Rob Simpson, who's written a few books and he loves to write poetry, he tried to encourage us to write some poetry around the campsite as we sat around that evening. We were all pretty hopeless, so we went to bed. I was in my tent by myself, and suddenly at 1 o'clock in the morning this huge storm came over and all this thunder and lightning, very, very frightening, and woke us all up. There I was lying in the tent in the dark, and suddenly this poetry started streaming out of my head. I don't know why, but it was quite a surreal moment. It was quite emotional, and I got tears rolling down my cheeks in the dark as I wrote this thing in my mind at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'll try and get through this without choking up, but I may not succeed, so you might see a few breaks in the video. But first you might need a bit more background. I had this beautiful cousin called Anne Marie, and she couldn't have any children of her own, but all of her nieces and nephews adored her, as did just about everyone else who knew her, and they all knew her by this affectionate diminutive Ree, R-E-E. So my poem is simply titled To Ree. I'll try and read it out without choking. Okay. To Ree. I honour my beautiful cousin Anne-Marie, who said she'd come on this great walk with me. But only in my mind, said Ree, for dying of cancer was she. Alas, poor Ree died soon after my visit. So I determined that she'd come along in spirit. Now in great pain my feet are screaming, and a little tear in my eye starts streaming. I hear a voice from above and a gentle little shove. Cowboy up, dear Jimmy, I would hear her cry, for if you don't finish, then neither do I. Now Ree would only think of others when lying in such pain. So who am I with just sore feet to complain? But as my fellow walkers will attest, even though I tried my very best, I have sooked like a baby every chance that I could get. Well, you'd better get used to it, for it's not over yet. If I finish this great walk, it will be a great achievement, even though, as I've said, we've had a sad bereavement. I hope to honour you, dear Ree, in thanks for being here with me by finishing this great walk. In my life, it's the longest. I'll remember it forever. It will be one of my fondest. Almost made it. So what do you reckon? Should I give up my day job and start writing poetry? Oh shoot, that's right. I don't have a day job. Actually, I've never been busier, but that's a different story. Now, I know it's not Pulitzer Prize for literature winning material, but occasionally when I'm feeling a bit down or a bit sorry for myself or lamenting the fact that I'm getting a bit old, I just recite this poem to myself in my head, and it helps quite a lot. And it reminds me that getting old is a privilege denied to many, like Ree and my sister Fiona. So I'd like to thank you, Rob, for bringing this out of me, and I just hope that I can encourage at least one more person to do similar. Thanks, Rob. Rest in peace, old friend.